Hello, Internet! Welcome to 2.5 Brains. This is the latest episode of Survivor Season 42, Episode 11, 12, something like that. We'll break it all down here, talk all about it. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything. You can like our Facebook page, facebook.com/Pavement Road Productions. You can email the show directly, pavementroadproductions@gmail.com. as well. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything. Like I said, this is the 11th, 12th. It's been kind of all over the place, episode, the episode count this year, but it is a penultimate episode, a season finale preview episode. So we'll break it all down here, talk all about it, do things differently as we do for this type of show. Talk about the 3 moments that mattered for the previous episode, and then jump right into finale predictions. Obviously, 3 moments that mattered, who did not survive the vote, and then looking at the finale, talking about who has the best shot of getting to the end and kind of what they need to do to get there and kind of what kind of winner they would resemble, and then talk about who's got the best odds of winning if they do get to the end. All things being considered, who's got the best odds. So it's kind of looking at it from both sides, because it's some of these players have a really good shot to get in the end but no shot to win, whereas others have a really good shot to win but a tough road to get there. So we'll break it all down, talk all about it. We are on our way to our vacation, so any ambient sounds might be the road noises, but we're going to go ahead and dive in here, and I have Jessica with me as well. Jessica, welcome to the show.
Oh, hello.
Hello. Jessica's being safe, so we're safe in the car. We're being good, but obviously we're going to try to get this show out here for you, so we don't have to wait until we get back from our trip. So, Jessica, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Thanks for joining us today.
Oh yeah, I don't really have a choice. I'm kind of trapped in the car. So
Yes, that's true. You are a what is it called? A captive audience, as Christian Hubicki would say.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about this episode, Jessica. What did you think of the episode?
I thought it was good and shocking and disappointing all at the same time.
Yeah, for sure. We were both on the same page, same team here for sure. So it was really, really interesting. Let's talk all about it. Give the person who went out this week their fair due, and then we'll kind of talk about what to look forward to. So obviously there's only 5 players left, so we're gonna break them all down here and talk about that as we get towards the end. So
Should I drop a beat or
if you want.
break it down?
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly. Wonderful, Jessica. Very good. So
I was funny most of the night. Now you're not laughing at me anymore.
well, that's okay. That's all right. You're entertaining. So let's go and talk about the 3 moments that mattered, and we'll start with moment that mattered number 1, and that is Easy Romeo.
We're for out though, Romeo.
Yeah, Mike said he's out there eating the rice, right, by himself.
Sucking on those fingers, eating the rice. Yep.
Disgusting, right?
Yep.
So Romeo, so what is up with Romeo?
There's nothing up with Romeo. He's there. He's still there. He's gonna be there till the end, but he's not doing a darn thing about anything.
Yeah, he's once again. They came back from tribal council. And they said, we made the big move, took out Drea, and now we're kind of talking about, okay, well, what do we want to do? What's next? Who's next? And
wasn't he left out of that vote again?
he was. Yeah, he voted with.
Jonathan voted for someone else. I can't remember now.
Yeah, I think so. But Drea or Drea, I think, voted for Jonathan with whoever. Or no, Jonathan won the immunity. So.
Yeah, Drea voted with Romeo for John or for whoever.
Yeah.
Something. But I remember, because I distinctly remember after that episode, you're like, he's always out of the vote.
Yeah, he's been wrong on pretty much every loop. Yeah. I mean, I think Rick Devens voted the wrong way a lot, but he was just because he's on the bottom and he was a target.
Yeah.
And he had idols or whatever. But so Romeo, they come back from the vote, and it's like, yeah, Romeo's still the easy vote, right? Everybody's like, yeah, it's one of those things where everybody knows that they could easily get rid of Romeo if they want to do an easy vote, but everybody wants to make a move and put something on the resume, right? So it's like sometimes, it's always one of those things where if you're the person in charge, sometimes just tell everybody the easy vote is the vote to go, because when you're in charge, you really want to just kind of have the status quo stay the same, so the last thing you really want is somebody who's in charge is for somebody else to make a move, so Romeo is always there, and if you're in control of the game, running the game, the right move might be to just vote out the easy vote.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I mean, not surprised they kept him around, though, because he's not going to win. So might as well keep him to the end because it's just one person that the jury is probably not going to vote for.
Right. I mean, at this point, it's almost like, do you keep the goat or do you kill the goat? Right. I mean, that's kind of how you look at it. Like, do you take the goat to the end and beat them, or is somebody afraid that they're taking their spot? Right. That's the only reason you get rid of Romeo now is if you think he's the 3 or the 4, and you want to take his spot in the 4 or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's really the only reason you get rid of him now. But I don't think they're gonna. I think they're gonna take him to the end.
Yeah. No, they're taking him to the end
for sure. So let's go and talk about moment that mattered number 2, and that is moves to make. So knowing that Romeo's easy vote, everybody's like, yeah, Romeo, and then they're like, yeah, not really Romeo, it's this one. Romeo was always a decoy. And so when Omer won the reward challenge, he had a choice of getting chicken or cake, basically, right?
Yeah, it was chicken and vegetables or cake and cookies.
Yeah. And they said if you take the cake and cookies...
Chocolate cake and cookies, to be specific.
And they said if you take Romeo...
No, if you pick the chicken and vegetables, you get to take 2 people. However, if you pick the cake and cookies, you get to take 3 people with you.
Right. So you decided, well, Romeo hasn't eaten yet, so I'll take him. And then he said, I'm going to take... he took Marianne next. And then he said Mike hasn't, had a chance to eat much, so he took Mike as well. So he took the cake. It try to make the most people happy, and did that. And a lot of times, especially down this part of the game, you really don't want to win the reward challenges because nothing good really comes out of them. The best thing that happens is nothing happens, and the worst thing that happens is they turn on you, right? So that's definitely one of the things where you really don't want to win these challenges. I think for Omer's case, it really had no effect. Nobody seemed to be upset.
No, because he knew who to pick, and he knew Lindsay would be upset because she understood.
Yep.
And then not picking Jonathan because I don't know.
Don't want to feed him. Don't want to give him any substance.
Yeah, I don't want to give him any energy. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So and obviously they did go ahead with make the move to take those people, leaving Lindsay and Jonathan behind. Lindsay, of course, I'm sure they talked beforehand, like, yeah, if you win, don't take me. If I win, I'm not taking you, type of thing. And they and she went back to camp and said, yeah, I'm fine. And I agree with what he said. And they were saying, oh yeah, I think it's great, blah, 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 ready to work together, blah, blah, blah. Of course they weren't. They were both, BSing each other the whole way.
Right.
So, but then it came down to it, all right, well, Romeo's easy vote, so what do we do? Do we take out Mike? Do we take out Omer? Do we take out Jonathan? Do we take out Lindsay? There's really all the options. And Marianne was kind of there trying to figure out which way to go. She was kind of the swing vote. Jonathan did say, too, that his final tribe of 4 that was there from day one, they were going to the final 6 together, but that's it. They're breaking up after that. And so he was ready to make a move on Omer or Lindsay if he could. Anything else?
No, I don't think so.
So that's kind of where the decisions came. There was really a lot of different options who they could go after, and we'll talk about what they ended up ultimately doing here in just a minute. So, moment that matter number 3 is idle stays idle.
Idle stays idle?
Exactly. So what happened with that, Jessica?
Well, Lindsay has an idol that was only good till final 6, so...
The amulet, right?
Or the amulet, yeah. So the amulet turned into an idol because Drea's gone, Hai's gone. So she could only use it at final 6, but her reservation was she didn't want to play her idol because she didn't want another idol to, appear on the beach for everybody to scramble for the next day. However, to that I say, you're not going to use it. It's going to expire anyways, and there's going to be a new one anyways. So holding on to it was a very dumb mistake, Lindsay. I really like you, and I usually don't like a lot of the women that play. You can attest to that, but yeah. I really wish she would have played her idol and not let it go idle. And yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So that was, again, and there's reasons to do that, and especially if you're very confident, then, whatever. But
you cannot be confident in a final 5, no matter what.
No, 100% agreed. So what happened was they had the immunity challenge, and you and me were watching it. We're like, man, if Lindsay can win this, or even if Omer can win it, they're both safe, and now it's they're both in the final 5 and whatever. right?
Yep.
And what happened? Lindsay won the immunity.
Yep.
And I high-fived you.
Yep.
And we're like, this is awesome.
Yep.
And then they said, well, we don't want to... And so here's the thing. Right? Idols that expire, they usually don't hide again. A. B, she doesn't know that Marianne found the idol.
Right.
But there's 2 idols out there now. They're not going to hide a third because they don't want a repeat of the final 6 at Game Changers when 5 people had immunity and 1 didn't.
Also, they should not be able to use idols after 6 anyway.
100% agree. You should have to get to...
It should end at 7. As soon as the tribal to get down to 6, you're done.
I think. Yeah, I agree. I mean, to get the 6 down to 5, you should be able to use it at 5.
Yeah, I don't think you should. I don't think they should have been able to use one last night.
I mean, maybe just the amulet, whatever. But I mean, yeah, I know. I completely agree. And I think if you do that, I think whatever. I think you. I said I don't like the fire ranking twist, obviously, and I hate the fact that you can have an idol to get you to a fire ranking twist, so you literally cannot be voted out. Like there should be one vote where there's no idols. Yeah, there should be one vote where everybody in the game's in danger, unless you win the challenge.
You win immunity, but I mean, eventually you should be able to work on your own merit to get to the end and get voted for. Otherwise, you're just
Yeah,
playing carnival games to get to the end and win, or finding just things. You're good at finding things in the jungle.
Yeah, and it's somewhat luck based and whatever else. They say those who are working harder find the idols. Whatever, I don't necessarily buy that. But either way, like I said, and of course the jury can vote then too based on that. Well, you had idols the whole time and then you made fire. You don't deserve it because whatever. But the person who's the underdog, is going to get those votes either way. So I really don't like that. I mean, obviously, again, the jury. If I'm on the jury, I'm not voting for that person who had idols, got idols all in the end, then made fire. But a lot of juries would, and that's not good. So either way, Lindsay has it. She's afraid to play it. And like I said, I don't think she should have worried about it. I think she should have played it. And not for nothing, but every time somebody I feel like every time somebody goes out of the game with an idol in their pocket or doesn't use it, right? They let it expire, they never win the game. I think 0% of the time they've won the game. Like the person who's had an idol and didn't use it I don't think they've ever won the game. I mean, you're looking back to like some previous seasons with Malcolm on Philippines. He went to the final. He found an idol, and it was final 5 was Abby, who nobody liked, and then it was Denise, Malcolm, Michael, and Lisa Welchel. And I shouldn't say Michael, I should say the other person because he went to jail for child porn. So I shouldn't talk about him. But so the 5 of them are there, and nobody liked Abby. And Malcolm's like, well, let's just get rid of Abby because she's annoying. And he had an immunity idol. He didn't need it because I think he either won the immunity challenge or he somehow he had the idol and they were voting for him. So I think he won immunity. I don't really know, but he didn't need the idol. So he's like, I'm gonna take it home and give it to my mom as a souvenir. And that's great because he didn't need it at the final 5 and his last time he could use it. So he just took it home and gave it to his mom. And then he lost the next immunity challenge and the 3 of them voted him out. What I would have done, looking back, is Abby's annoying. Everybody wants to get rid of Abby. Give her the idol. Have her get rid of Denise. Have her get rid of somebody else. Anybody else. And that way, at the final 4, they don't like her. They want to get rid of her. Even if they think you're a big threat, they still might want to get rid of her instead, right? So he should have played that idol on her to save her, and maybe he wins the game. I mean, you could look at Tai Trang. He had an immunity idol. He didn't play it the whole game. He didn't need it the whole game. He got to the end and got no votes. Yeah, I mean, so there's a lot of examples of people who have it. Like, even and then look at the flip side of that, right? Wendell, his season, he was at the final 5 or whatever. He didn't need I think he won the immunity, so he didn't need the idol he had, but he gave it to Laurel to keep her safe. She wasn't really in trouble either, but he gave it to her as a show of like, hey, here you go. I got your back. He gave her the idol. She used it, saved herself. Didn't need it, but saved herself. And then she cast the only vote that mattered to give him the money. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like there's no point of not using it.
Take exit 39 onto
Sorry.
Towards Syracuse.
Sorry, I said sorry, not the other word, not the sorry word. But yes, so I don't know. I just think it stays on the idle. It stays on the island. Give it to somebody, play it, something, because taking it home with you does no good. And like I said, even if I don't want to come back in the game, it's smart to think that way. But you're thinking a little bit too far ahead. I think you're making it harder on yourself than you need it to be. I really think you're making it harder than you need to be. Just play the game and do your thing. So that's what I think. That's what I think they should. Or don't overthink it. Don't make it harder than it needs to be. Even if you do play it, and they do put another one back out there, there's 2 of you to go find it, and there's 3 people. 3 other people. The odds of you finding it are better than anything. Anyways, so.
As soon as you get back, just go bust your butt and find it.
Yeah, or like I said, even just look and make sure follow the other people around, make sure they don't go. So they can't find it. I mean, it's very. It didn't make sense not to play it, and of course, Lindsay doesn't play it. Marianne uses her extra vote, brings Romeo in. They split on Jonathan, and I think Mike.
Jonathan and Romeo.
They split on Jonathan and Romeo. Right. And then Marianne and Romeo, Marianne uses her extra vote, so she has 2 votes. Romeo votes for Omer. Jonathan and Mike vote for Romeo. And then the other 2, Lindsay and Omer, vote for Jonathan to try to get Jonathan out. And the Marianne extra vote and Romeo's vote flip on Omer, so it's 3-2-2, and Omer gets voted out.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yup. Frickin' Lindsay.
Yeah, it was, and I said, and I don't think Omer really. He didn't seem like he was that upset about it. He'd ask her at the end.
He said he counted on the Survivor gods or Survivor something.
Yeah, he said he was Survivor confident.
Survivor confident.
Yeah, and he said he shouldn't be Survivor confident.
Should never be Survivor confident. That's why him and Lindsay should have discussed it and definitely played the idol. But anyways.
Yeah, and absolutely, and they showed them. It's never a good look when they show you right before tribal council joking and laughing.
Yeah.
So it's never good. It's never good when they show you before tribal council sitting there laughing, because it makes you look overconfident. It's always a sign that you're going to get voted out. So, with that being said, and it's funny too, because when Omer got voted out, he turned to Lindsay and said, "Did you know?" And she said, "No, I had no idea."
Right.
So he thought maybe she withheld it from him so he could get voted out.
Right.
But that was not the case.
No, it wasn't. And I mean, now Lindsay's got a better shot to win with him being gone, but at the same time, it's fine, I guess, as long as one of them win.
Well, and like I said, what I was going to say is, what I was going to say is, people can't
learn
drive.
How to drive.
Yes.
Lord have effing mercy.
Good
Anyways.
God. Good
OMG.
God.
Yeah.
What clowns?
Yup.
Clowns wearing clown shoes. Anyways, and driving clown cars. Anyways, so
I don't even know what just happened.
Yeah, people are awesome. They're super great. They're super great.
I will restrain myself from yelling for all your sake, but oh yes.
Yeah,
okay.
People are the best.
We'll get back to Survivor and not my road rage right now.
So with that too, I mean, I'm trying to remember where we were, honestly, at this point.
Distracted by the stupidity. Let's just say, there's a cop on the side of the road. I tried to slow down and get behind the person next to me on the left. They were slowing down at the same time I was slowing down and wouldn't let me get behind them or in front of them. But I digress.
Good times. So, that's what's going on right now. So I guess the Omer thing. So we can talk about why Omer lost, who did not survive.
Yeah.
Obviously, Omer got knocked out here, so Lindsay does have a better shot now that Omer's out of the game. I think her odds of getting in the end are worse, and we'll talk about that here as well.
Yeah.
Coming up here.
Yeah. You take out the target bigger than you, and it makes it worse.
Okay, so anyways, so why did Omer not survive? Or who did not survive Omer? And what do you do? What did he do wrong? What do you think he did wrong?
Everybody started to kind of see through his, I don't want to call it an act. He didn't have an act. He was just very good at playing the game and relating to people and everything else. And people just started to see through it and see through that, you know, he had a lot of pull with the votes and different things and the social game that he had and everything. And it just, you know, he was too big of a threat. People finally started to realize how much of a threat he was. And they knew they couldn't take him to the end because they wouldn't win.
For sure. And it's one of those things too where, you know, in this season, like other seasons, like a lot of recent seasons, I would say, the players who are the threats keep getting knocked out before they get to the end. I mean, even going back to next season, going back to, you know, really every season since with Don Wendell, right? Because nobody wants to be the Laurel who goes down with Don Wendell and loses.
Yeah.
So really, since then, the threats have been taken out. I mean, thankfully, Nick was a pretty good winner. But really, since then, other than Tony, there hasn't really been a good winner because the best threat gets taken out. Omer, I think what he kind of did, it's really hard. It's not as hard to play that game he was playing when there's a lot of people left in the game. When there's like 5-6 people left in the game, when you're trying to play both sides, odds are they're going to talk to each other because there's nobody else left.
Yeah, you got a little overconfident.
Yeah, and it's a smart thing to play both sides. It is a good thing to do as long as you have people who aren't going to talk to each other. But when you get down to the bottom of the game, and if you don't think anybody else is playing the game, and they're not going to do, they're not going to try, they're not going to make a move on you because they're just a goat. Well, then you don't have to worry about it. But
Right.
Omer, he played a really good game, and he thought, and I don't usually do this, but I did read a little exit press. I read Mike Bloom's interview with him, with Omer, and he talked about how it's his dream to play the game. He played a good game. It didn't work out the way he had wanted to, but he played a good game. I think he played a great game. I think he'll definitely be back.
Yeah.
He's one of the best players playing a while, for sure. So I really like how he's been what he's been doing and how he's been playing. Yeah. Fun. So, but I think what Omer did say too. This is something that I know. Omer did say this too in his interview with Mike Bloom. I didn't even know this. They didn't show it on the show. Apparently, Jonathan and Omer found an idol nullifier.
Why didn't they show it?
Because it didn't end up being a factor, but Omer says it kind of was, because he said that the whole thing with giving him his idol.
Yeah.
He said the only reason he gave it back to Mike, he wasn't going to, but he wanted to give it back to Mike and then play his idol nullifier and knock Mike out. So he wanted to use.
That would have been great.
He wanted to use the idol nullifier to make a big move for himself and and really make his resume better. So that's why he did it. So he was trying to keep Mike's idol. He said in a perfect world he would have just voted Mike out and kept the idol for himself.
Yeah.
But he said he wanted to instead give it back to Mike and then use the idol nullifier to knock that out at the final 5.
Which would have been a lot better.
Right, which would have been huge. And again, having all these idols and everything in the game, and then having a nullifier they've only had a nullifier I think once or twice total in the series.
Yeah.
But it was used correctly when you know where the idols are, when they're being played and everything. And in this case, they would have known because it would have been the final 5.
Right.
And I guess that leads a little bit of credence to why you can let them play the final 5.
Yeah.
Because it can be nullified.
Yeah.
And then the people know when you're playing it because you're playing at 5 because it's the only time they'll play it.
I guess.
So I guess. So I still hate it that they can play it at 5, but at least if there's a nullifier, at least that makes it a little better.
I mean, I just have a beef with the show at this point with the idols because you can't. Nothing's a secret anymore. Like, absolutely nothing is a secret. The fact that some people were able to keep anything a secret this season is shocking.
Yeah.
Because everybody knows everybody's business. Everybody knows whenever he has an idol because of the stupid quote.
Right.
So, like, I mean, the secrecy of the game before, from what I saw, not watching that often, is the biggest part of it, is being able to keep that secret and surprise people.
Yeah.
It's like you can't surprise anybody anymore.
And that's also kind of why Omer didn't care about finding an idol, because he would rather know where the idols are so he could play his nullifier.
Yeah.
And I guess he said also part of it was Jonathan and him were the only two who knew about it. and they said they weren't going to tell anybody. But as Omer got closer with Lindsay, and he was really close with Jonathan, he got closer with Lindsay than he was with Jonathan.
Right.
He told Lindsay, and then Jonathan found out they told Lindsay, so Jonathan told Marianne, and that's why Marianne was after Omer.
Got it.
So I would have liked to have seen that on the show because it actually did make some relevant sense.
Right.
But it didn't come into play, the nullifier, and they didn't want to tell that story. They wanted to tell a different story of how Omer got knocked out.
But that's not the true story. So like, it's so hard to watch shows then.
Yeah, for sure. There's so much you don't see, and like something like that. I mean, is really kind of crazy. So,
You're good.
yeah. So that's what. So that's. I think that's what happened with Omer. I think that's why Omer got knocked out, and that's. He was playing a really good game. I was pulling for him because he was playing a really strategic game, really smart game, and unfortunately, I said he thought he underestimated a couple players. Him and Lindsay made a bad decision on the idol, and he said he was playing a really strong game. And sometimes, if you're playing that game, it's hard to play that game for 4, 5, 6 rounds. It's really it usually does catch up to you. And if you're gonna make a move, like he was making moves the last few weeks, I didn't think anybody was gonna figure it out. They did, to their credit. But I think I kind of felt like he was just gonna roll to the end and be good to go.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to make moves from like 9, 8, 7, 6 all the way down, make moves being in charge. Usually that person gets knocked out before the end, and unfortunately for him, he kind of peaked a little bit early, I guess you can say. I think that's kind of what kind of his problem was.
Yeah. I wouldn't even say that he was in control with stuff. He was just involved with everything, and he was able to sway people a lot to change what they were doing before. Yeah,
and he had a really good social game that was part of it too. And I think he just kind of ended up being somebody who they thought, that people ever thought he was he was their best friend, and then they talked to each other, found out he kind of telling everybody that, and he, I think he just kind of peaked a little bit. I think he made moves and kind of took control of the game, and it was kind of there wasn't enough runway left for him. There was too much runway left for him to take that all the way. The biggest threats get taken out every week at this point, and he became the biggest threat.
Right.
When people started figuring out his game.
Yeah.
And I think that's why he got knocked out.
Yeah.
I really liked him. I thought he was a really, really good player. He was my number 2 pick. So now I'm in deep, deep trouble. deep trouble. We're gonna talk about it. So.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and because I think we were no secret we were both yep.
What? That way?
Yep.
Oh, I don't want to go that way. I gotcha.
So so I think that's kind of what the I think that's what Omer did wrong there. So let's go ahead and talk about the players who are remaining in the game and their odds of getting the end. Who's got the best odds? Who's got the worst odds of actually getting the end? Kind of what the moves they have to make, and then what kind of winner they would resemble if they did pull off win. So let's start with 5th best odds of getting the end.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I think we were both Team Omer, Team Lindsay.
Yeah.
For sure. 5th best odds of getting the end is Lindsay.
Yes.
And why?
Because she's got a big target. Basically, it's always been her and Jonathan, neck for neck. What I'm trying to say, neck and neck, not neck for neck. To win individual immunity, and she's a strong player. Got stronger throughout the entire game, I would say, from the beginning, and she just got a big target, and she doesn't have many allies left at this point either.
Right, and that's the thing. I'm definitely Team Lindsay, but Omer going out gives her a better shot of winning.
Yeah.
But also, her number 1 ally is gone.
Less protection now.
Right. So she's now the number 1 target.
Because obviously Jonathan's going to want to get her out.
Right. Jonathan's going to want to get her out. Yeah. I think everybody's going to want to get her out. I think she's... And I think that's her problem right now. I think the fact is, if Omer was still in the game, they could have got rid of Omer, and it would have been fine.
Yeah.
Next. And then she's in the Final 4, and she's good.
Right.
But instead, with him gone, now she is the number 1 target to go. And I think that makes it much more difficult. So.
Yeah.
I think to pull it off, I think she's going to have to win, I think, one more immunity, and then either make fire or win that immunity. And I think if she can do that, I think she's got a shot. But that would be at least 3 immunities for her. And so it's definitely tough. I mean, I said she's been doing really well. She's been competing against Jonathan, really the one who's been able to beat him over the one time, but that's pretty much it. So if she can win the second immunity, and then, we'll see how she does with fire or whatever, can win 4 immunities for the season, that's, that'd be something. And obviously she had that big show in front of the jury and has made some moves. I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll certainly see what happens. She came out of nowhere. She wasn't really getting much of an edit for a while, and then she really, the last couple weeks, really took off.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's enough. I don't know if with Omer being on the game, I think it's gonna be a tough road for her. But I do think she could be kind of like a Nick Wilson, where Nick was had alliances with everybody though. And when his top ally got knocked out, he won the last 2 immunities, won his way to the end, and won the game. So I think that's kind of what the path she needs to be on. I really, a lot of times it's like, who do you sit with to beat? I mean, I think in a perfect world, she sits with maybe even Jonathan or Mike and Romeo. Romeo and one of those 2. I think is their best bet to win.
Yeah.
But
I can agree with that.
I really think that she beats pretty much anybody. I think.
Yeah.
But then what the hell do I know? I've got that wrong last year. I've got that wrong the last couple of years. And now I think Lindsay is my highest. I think she's I have her 7th on my ranking or 6th, and she's my highest ranking person left. I have her at 6th. I have Romeo at 9th. I have Jonathan at 11th. Mike at 16th, and Marianne at 18th. So I don't know anything.
I don't know.
I suck.
Your last could be the first, is my thoughts.
It very well could be, and if that's the case, I may retire from podcasting. I may have to.
That's all I needed.
I may be forced to. Cause I don't know shit. So 4th best chance to get in the end, I think, is Jonathan. What do you think?
Yeah, I can agree with that.
So Jonathan, I think what he has to do is he has to pretty much Mike Holloway this, win the next couple of immunities, get to the end. My only thing though with him, and he's really kind of, I thought a couple weeks ago, I thought if he gets to the end, he's definitely going to win. But I kind of think he's fallen out of favor a little bit. He does have a good social game. People like him, and everything like that. I just think they're going to see him as okay, you're a one-trick pony. You won challenges. You didn't have any strategic chops. Especially if Lindsay's on the jury too, she can kind of be that person who's yeah, he didn't do shit. Myself and Omer were the only reason he had any strategic moves at all. I think that's kind of what they're going to be able to do and say. So I think that's kind of a problem for him. So I think his winner stock has gone down quite a bit the last few weeks. But I think if he doesn't, let's say Lindsay wins next meeting, I think Jonathan's gone, or Marianne perhaps. But I think Jonathan's the next one to go.
It's funny. How many has Jonathan won?
I think he's won 2.
When Jeff said that, I was thinking to myself, he's won 10, but it's because he's always won for his tribe.
In the team challenges.
So, yeah. I mean, food challenges, even just the tribe challenges, they've won everything.
The team challenges, yeah.
So it's been him just winning everything, so I feel like he's won a lot. Not just 2.
But he has only won a couple of individual ones, and they show the preview for the next, I think the Final 5 challenge. There's that big set piece it was a Final 5 challenge in Second Chances. So I think if that's the case, he's got a really good chance because it's a very physical challenge. But we'll see. I think he's gonna at least win one more immunity, and then if I think he was probably pretty good at making fire. So if he does that, he'll have kind of Mike Holloway this to the end, and we'll see. But that's where I see his best chance. I think to get to the end, I think to win the game. It's gonna be tough. I think he's gonna have to go against maybe Romeo and maybe Mike, maybe Marianne. I don't know. It depends on how he gets there. But I think other players have a little more strategic ability in the game. He showed that he was aligned with people who were strategic, but he hasn't really showed to be strategic on his own. And I think the jury's gonna be looking for that.
Yeah.
So I think it's gonna be tough for him to win, but I think he's got a tough chance to get in the end. So I said if Lindsay wins next meeting, I think Jonathan's the one to go.
Yeah.
I really do.
Well, hopefully. I'm not sure, but probably.
Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean either him or Mike, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
for sure. I can see Mike going also, definitely. So let's go ahead and talk about who is next. Next on my list here, I actually have Marianne. Marianne. Yeah, so Marianne, I have her next. And again, the only reason I see that is because, let's say Lindsay does win the immunity. Obviously, Marianne has an idol. She can play it. Mike has an idol. He can play it. And that's why I kind of see them going further. So to play this out, I think whoever does win the immunity I think Lindsay does win the immunity, she's gone. I think she does, Jonathan's gone. Or unless, they want to save Mike or save Jonathan by giving him the idol or whatever, or somehow Marianne wants to save Lindsay, I think how she plays her idol is going to determine the rest of the game for her.
Yeah.
If she plays it to save herself, I think that's fine, but I don't think she's going to need it anyways. But then again, they might not know she has an idol and she just made a move, so they might want to take her out, and she plays the idol, saves herself, and shocks everybody. So I don't know. I really can't say. I think she should get at least to the final 4 with that idol, and then it's a matter of who's there. Does she win the challenge? Does she make fire? Does she get taken in the end? It's kind of going to depend. Now, another thing Marianne might want to do, honestly, if she plays the idol, she might want to take out Romeo, because that way she's the next best chance to be taken to the end. And take out the person with the best spot. I don't know.
Yeah, I can see that.
But I think Marianne plays her idol and is at least in the final 4, even regardless of what happens with the immunity challenge. And then it's going to be, again, if it's one of those things where she doesn't need it, and she can somehow, do something where she now, plays it on, Jonathan and saves him or something weird. That's what Natalie Anderson did in her season, right? She was in the final 5. She played an idol, saved the person that was being targeted, and then took out her ally, and then picked up the other people who were left. And she basically took out one of her top allies, because her top ally had another top ally. She took out that person, and then basically freed up everybody in the game to have only her as their number 1, and that's how she got to the end and won. So I think if she plays her idol well, I think if she makes maybe one more move, and she ends up going on to win the game, she kind of played a similar Natalie Anderson game, kind of just being fun and everybody's friend, and then made a couple moves late and won the game. And that's what I can kind of see from her.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I agree.
Perfect. We're in a little bit of fog, so Jessica's kind of white knuckling it a little bit. I think Marianne has the third best odds. Just based on the idol. Second best odds getting the end, I think, is Mike. Mike, I think, has second best odds. Just again, he has an idol. Everybody knows about it, but again,
not much of a threat.
Yeah, he never says he's likable, and they think he could win the game, and he maybe he can. It's possible he can. But he's just not the biggest. He's not the biggest target. So I don't see him going out this week, especially because he has an idol. And then after that, he's either making fire or he wins the immunity or something. So, another reason I hate the idol. another reason I hate the idol is being played at 5. Because they're either those two should be at least in the fire making. At the very least. So. I think if Mike does pull it off, I think he can sit with, maybe if he sits with Jonathan and Romeo, maybe he wins the game. I think anybody else. I think Lindsay and Marianne both beat him. Maybe Jonathan too. So we'll see how that goes. But if he does pull it off, I think he's played kind of an Ethan Zahn game. Like, Ethan was kind of riding along with the bigger threats, and then not by his fault, they got taken out, right? Ethan back in season 3 was riding with Big Tom and Lex and Kim J, and Big Tom got taken out because Kim won the immunity, and they had to get rid of one of the 3 of them, so they got rid of Tom, and then Kim won the final immunity as well, and Lex was a huge threat, so she took out Lex, and Ethan was just there by himself with Kim. Kim was not as likable. Ethan had a lot better relationships, and Ethan won, and he didn't have to take out any of his allies to get there. So I think that's kind of Mike's thing. If the game ends up working out where the rest of because all Mike's allies are basically gone, and if Jonathan gets taken out next, that's really his last ally remaining. He's left with no allies left in the game, but maybe they'll vote for him. Maybe he's been likable enough to get the votes, and I think that's what his path needs to be.
Yeah.
What do you think? Anything else? What do you think about Mike's chances of getting to the end?
He's probably got a decent chance of getting to the end. We know when all of his allies are gone, though, because he's been working with Jonathan since the merge.
That's what I mean. If Jonathan goes, that's kind of what I mean.
Oh, yeah. Then, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think he's got a good chance to get there, but I don't think he'll win.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same boat. I think he's got a non-zero. I mean, Erica won that season, so I think nobody has a 0% chance except for one person. And that person is number one, best odds to get in the end. Again, I don't really see any reason to take him out unless you're afraid that he's going to take your spot in the finals and you want to just remove the easy vote. And that sometimes is a good decision. If you're the person who's, like, if you're afraid, if you're the person who's in charge, let's say you're the person in charge and you're running to the end and you think you're going to get to the end, you win. Like, if Lindsay wins the next community, there's no harm in getting rid of Romeo, because if you feel like you get to the end, you win, might as well take out the person that everybody's going to drag to the end and free up a spot for you. So maybe that's what you do if you're a person with a good shot to win. But other than that, I don't see any other reason why anybody. Nobody's losing to him, so no point in really taking him out. So I think Romeo obviously had the best shot of winning.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Best shot of getting to the end.
Getting the end. Worst shot of winning by far. The best shot of getting the end. I just don't see any reason why anybody takes. And I think whoever wins the immunity, votes out Jonathan, Lindsay, whoever, and then whoever wins the fire making takes Romeo with them to the end. Then the other two may fire.
Right.
And unless they do pull a Chris Underwood and do that, but I think that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on Romeo?
Oh, Romeo. No, I mean, it's what you said. He can definitely get to the end, but he's got very little chance of winning because he hasn't done basically anything. He's done less than Erica, because at least Erica had that changing of the future.
Yeah.
Or change the past, whatever, yeah. So, yeah, he's got not a good chance to win.
He's been pretty likable and everything like that and whatever, but he's been weirding people out. He kind of reminds me a little bit of Matthew von Ertfalda from season 6, Mateo, when he went to the end. Like, it was Rob, Jenna, and Matt, and Matt Jenna wins the immunity, votes out Rob, and like 2 votes before that, Christy, the first deaf player on the show, she said she's not gonna let Jenna win. She's not gonna vote for Jenna no matter what happens, because Jenna's her evil stepsister. And Matthew creeped out everybody. Like, everybody was creeped out. He was sitting there, like Rob said, he was sitting there sharpening the machete all the time. And Rob's like, why is he getting the machete so sharp? If we vote him out, he's probably gonna take it out and kill us. Like, we can't. So nobody voted him out because they're afraid he was gonna kill them. So he got to the end of the game and nobody voted for him to win because he was creepy. So, I mean, that's, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Matt in that way, where people are like, he's there, nobody wants to vote him out because he's not going to win, and he's just like weird, and they don't really like him. I mean, he seems nice, but just weird.
Yeah.
So, if he does somehow win, which he's not going to, I mean, I will, there's no way. There's, like I said before, that there's like 99% chance that somebody's going to win, and like 1% chance somebody else is going to win, and that 1% person won. But there's 0 chance Romeo's winning. 0.
Yeah.
Like 0.0.
Yeah.
If he does win, he's Judd Berza, because he won because he got there and hated everybody else. But there's nobody there who he can sit against that they hate more.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no, if he's sitting against like Russell Hantz, the person who pissed off every jury he's ever been on, pissed off every member of every jury he's ever been up against, and like Amanda Kimmel, who can't talk to a jury to save her life. If he's up against those two, they split the votes, and he gets 0. Like, that's the people who've gone the end twice and lost twice would beat him, and that's bad. That's really bad.
Yeah.
But so if he did pull off, he's like Judd Berza, but he's not pulling off. So let's talk about who has the best chance to actually win, and this is kind of like, what order do you want to place them in? Like, who. So it's kind of like the person above them can beat them, person above them can beat them, and so on.
So it's last to first.
It's definitely last first, right? So 5th best chance of winning the game, of course, is Romeo.
Yes.
Romeo's not beating anybody.
Right. Yep. As we just talked about, he's not beating anyone.
No way. Instead, everything. He's made some good reports from people. He's been on the wrong side of pretty much every vote. And that kind of shows a lot too. Like they don't care enough to vote him out, and then he just clings on to somebody. They vote on, and then they cling on to somebody else, and they vote on, and he clings on to somebody else. He's definitely a barnacle. Usually, when your top ally gets voted out, you're the target, but he hasn't been the target, so nobody cares.
Right.
So, next I have I think the 4th best odds of winning actually is Mike.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What do you think of that?
I mean, he hasn't really done too much. He's kind of been going along to get along with most people. And, I mean, he's might have made a kind of moves, but most times he'll try and push for something and then they change it. I think the only time they really did that was when they voted out High, I think, yeah. But not even, I mean, for someone who always says his word is everything and he always sticks by his word, I mean, you can't say that on this game because you can keep giving your word and then eventually you're going to have to go back on it.
Yeah, he's turned on and voted out everybody in the game. Like he's pretty much turned on.
He went along and voted out Roxroy. Like, he didn't want to do that, but he did. So it's like you got to kind of.
And then he turned on his ally High, and then he just voted out Omer, who's an ally. So like, it's. Yeah, I think Mike's only chance of winning is if he doesn't do the coach final tribal where coach is like, I play this game with honor and integrity, and people will be looking like, no, you didn't. I think if he owns his game and says, yeah, I had to tell you guys I was playing with honor so you would trust me, but I was actually going to stab you in the back. I don't know if Mike will do that. I think he'll try to be like, I'm a likable guy, I played
And that he'll still say, I gave everybody my word, but eventually you gotta, vote people out, and they'll just be like, well, then you lied to everybody, and, but I agree.
No, I completely agree. I think I don't think he'll have the chops to be like, yeah, I voted you out, get over it.
Yeah.
Which is what he should do. But I don't think he's that kind of person. I don't think he has that killer instinct, unfortunately for him. I still think he can win. I kind of said, too, to me, he's kind of actually, maybe not even an Ethan, more of like a Michelle Fitzgerald. Like when Mish Fitz, when she won her season, she went to the end. They were really mad at Aubrey. And then Ty, was kind of a goat. So it was like, they like, well, we want to vote. We don't want to vote for Aubrey. Aubrey, yeah, exactly. We don't want to vote for Aubrey, and Ty didn't play a good enough game. So let's see if Michelle can give us enough to vote for her. We like her better than we like Aubrey, and we didn't. Aubrey played a very under the radar game. The cameras saw it, but the players didn't really, and they didn't like her. So they wanted to be like, who can Michelle give us a reason to vote for her? And she kind of did, so they gave her the votes. Maybe that's what Mike will do. I don't know. He's sitting there with other people who, that jury just for some reason, doesn't like. Mike's been getting, some confessionals and that kind of thing. So maybe he has a shot, but I think he beats Romeo, and then maybe if they see him and Jonathan as equals, maybe a couple more people vote for Mike because they like him better.
I was gonna say he could possibly beat Jonathan.
Yeah,
I could see that.
I don't see him beating either of the girls. I think if either of the girls are at the end, they win.
Yeah, and the thing is with the jury, I don't really see anybody hating anybody that's remaining, so it's kind of not at that point.
Right. I don't think it's like the Ricardo last season who was mad and bitter and.
I mean, Kai was great when he got voted out.
Same with Drea.
Yeah, Drea.
Same with Omer.
It's like, it's a game. You can't take it to offense. You can't take it personally. That's the whole point.
Right. I mean, Roxroy didn't seem like he was bitter, and neither did Tori, neither did Chanel. So I really think it's been a very, I think it's gonna be a very friendly jury, and that being said, does a friendly jury respect gameplay, or is a friendly jury just be like, I like you, I'm voting for you? I hope they mean respect gameplay.
Yeah.
Because I hate when they just give it to the nice person.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they probably will look at both social game and all that stuff.
Like I hear a lot of people who are casual fans like, I like this person, I hope they win. And like, they didn't play the game, so no.
Like who? I need examples.
Like in this season?
Yes.
Mike.
Yeah.
Like Mike's so nice. Okay,
He's
great.
nice, but it doesn't mean he should win.
Right. Like, the objective of the game is to win the game. And there's no criteria for winning, so I get that if you win the game, you deserve it, you know?
Yeah.
But I feel like you should play the game strategically and make moves.
Yeah, I mean, Jeff saying the social experiment. But it's also funny. He finds something every season to say, and that's what Survivor's all about. Survivor's about a lot of things.
Yeah, it's about 43 different things. 42 different things at this point.
Yep.
So, yeah. So, anyways.
That's what Survivor's about. Oh, really? I thought Survivor was about something else.
Yeah,
It's all of it.
Survivor's about everything. It's that's why it's been out for 20-something years. Anyways, so let's talk then about who's got the third best chance of winning. And this one, I'm not actually, I may want to bump it down a little bit, but Jonathan I have here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of like a A and B situation.
Yeah, or 2 and 2B, or 3 and 3B, or whatever the hell it is.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's what I mean.
yeah. For me, Jonathan, it's really going to depend on how he gets to the end. If he makes a strategic move to get to the end, he's got a shot. If he wins the next 2 immunities to get to the end, I think he's got no shot.
I think he's going to just rely on his muscle and winning an immunity to get to the end.
And he could say, oh, my tribe was fed, my tribe was, won a lot of challenges early because of me, and that's why these people were. That's why we went through the merge with numbers. And he can use all that, but I just think that being one-dimensional, I think is really really gonna hurt him. So I think if he can pull off a move where he somehow convinces Marianne to give him the idol and then votes her out, or something like kind of like Chris Underwood did, or something like that, like kind of you manipulate somebody or make a strategic move on somebody, and that's how you get to the end. Great, and then I think he has a shot. But I still think it's going to depend on who he's with and what story he can tell.
Yeah, I mean, whenever he tried to make some sort of a move, he wasn't really good about relaying that to people. Like when him and Lindsay got into it about who they should get out and everything, and I'm not sure at this point if he's got the food for his brain to help him talk to people, because he's just hangry, I feel like, at this point from the past couple episodes.
Yeah, and I really like him. He showed a little bit of like strategy, but it's kind of fallen off. And in the strategy, and in his defense, he has some strategic ability. It just hasn't, the ideas he put forward haven't articulated, or haven't materialized. He's like, oh, we should do this, and like, actually, that's not a bad idea. I just didn't end up having something else did something instead.
Well, I mean, he started talking about the vote to get out Drea, but then wanted to throw the extras on Marianne, and then Lindsay was trying to point out, well, if this person plays an idol, then Marianne's gone. So sometimes I don't think he thought things completely through, and that he didn't want to listen when he got called out on that either.
Yeah. So I think he does. I think he does have some ability to. I don't think he's as dumb as he kind of comes off.
No.
But he also hasn't shown enough of that strategic ability in the game for him to think. I think for him to win. So I do think he has to kind of make a couple moves. Take Romeo and Mike to the end, and make a better strategic move than Mike, and plead a better case than Mike. Maybe he goes there. Maybe he's the Sophie to Mike's coach, and then Albert's Romeo, because Sophie was like, "Hey, coach." Basically, what Sophie did, the way she won the game, she has alpha male and coach, and she just castrated him from the jury. Is what she did. She's like, yeah, he's saying he plays the game with honor and integrity. He didn't. He lied. We all did. And then she said, and I, carried him to the end. And people are like, yeah, he's kind of a dick. Let's give it to her. And so maybe that's what Jonathan can do. But it's gonna be, he's got to make some moves still. I think, and I think I think he needs one strategic move on his resume to win the game. I think he really does.
Yeah.
Cool. Number 2 best chance of winning, and this one could go either way. I can't believe I'm saying this. Marianne.
Yeah. I think 1 and 2 could probably be interchanged just depending on who gets there.
It's crazy to me. Just crazy to me.
She started off with high energy and everybody being annoyed by her because of how annoying she acted, and then now she's, I haven't heard that in a while about her and her attitude and everything else, or not even her attitude, but her persona. I haven't heard anybody say about her being just so hyped up and everything. I think she finally calmed down a bit because she has no energy left.
Right. No, that might be, and it's probably the best thing that could have happened to her, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
she's definitely gotten into playing the game.
Yeah, and you don't usually see that person who's that hyper person, win the game. That doesn't usually happen.
It's Survivor. Drop the 4, add the 2, replace it with the 2, whatever.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that at all this year.
Thank God. It makes a lot of sense. That's why.
Yeah.
Than it did last season.
Drop
It made
the 4, add the 1.
it made, drop the 4, keep the 1, and that made very little sense. And this one makes even less sense to say it with the 2. But yeah, I mean, and again, I guess you can look at it, with Erica won last season, and of course they didn't see that. I don't know. I mean, I guess you just look at, the way Erica played the game, the way, she kind of was that, oh yeah, they just didn't. I guess you can look at it. I think maybe even say it this way: if Marianne Williams, she kind of played the Erica game. Maybe it's a Canadian thing, but like people didn't take her seriously. She was kind of annoying. She was like, okay, we'll give her whenever we want to, not a big deal. And then they get close to the end, they're like, oh my gosh, she's a threat, and like, oh my gosh, she's gonna win, and it was too late, and for some reason I don't see Marianne winning. I don't. For some reason, I mean, she does good a shot to anybody. But like last season, I felt like even though I thought Deshaun had like bad odds to get in the end, I thought he was somehow going to pull it off. I thought he'd actually win too, but I thought he'd somehow get to the end. And in this case, I feel like just like somehow Marianne won't get to the end somehow. I don't know. Maybe she makes fire and doesn't do it. I think that's probably what's going to happen. Maybe because I think she'll make it to the 4, and then somebody will win the meeting, make her make fire, and she'll lose. I think that's my bet. That's what's going to happen, because they're gonna take Romeo with them, and Marianne will have to make fire against whoever else is there.
Yeah, it really just depends on who has immunity and who is sitting there.
Yeah.
Like the girls have Lindsay against Marianne to make a fire.
Yeah, and I still think Lindsay would win that either way, but
Oh yeah.
I think I think Marianne does have a really good shot of winning the game, though. I for some reason just don't. I think she has better odds than some of getting the end. I had her have pretty high odds of getting the end, but I just for some reason don't think she's gonna get there for some reason. I don't know. It's just something back in my head, and maybe it's my fact that I can't have my first boot win the game. Maybe that's why I'm thinking that, but.
I can feel it in my gut. It's probably going to be Marianne.
It very well could be. It very well could be.
That's right most of the time.
Well, you had Omer, so Omer is your guy.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
not shocked that it happened either.
Yeah. And then I think the best odds to win the game, I really do think it's Lindsay. But again, she's got to get rid of Marianne right away. And honestly, I think if it comes down to it, obviously Marianne has the idol, so I can't imagine Marianne playing anybody else. But get rid of Marianne as soon as you can. I think for anybody, because I think even Lindsay could be beat by anybody.
If they pick up on how much of a threat she is.
Yeah, you're right. So I think but Marianne making that move, I think she kind of put herself out there. And now if you can get rid of her, do it. Obviously, she's got an idol at 5, so now she's making fire. But if let's say Lindsay wins the next immunity, you take out Jonathan. I think she wins. I think Lindsay can probably win the next one as well, and then put Marianne in fire against Mike. And maybe that's what she does. But and that's
Marianne building a fire against the firemen.
right. And then Romeo and Lindsay are in the end. So we'll see. I think Lindsay does have. I think Lindsay probably could beat anybody. She has made strategic moves. She's done well in challenges. She's done been friends with just about everybody. So I think she's got really the best overall game left. So we'll see. What do you think?
Yeah, I hope she wins it. That's all I have to say about her.
Yeah.
I hope she can do it.
Yeah. That said, if she would have played that idol and saved Omer, I think she was almost guaranteed to win. I really do. I think Omer's still a threat. Omer probably still gets taken out at 5, and then Lindsay's there at 4, and all she has to do is win one challenge or make fire. And I think if she would have saved, even if she didn't want to go the end with Omer, I think she gets the 5 with Omer. He goes out at 5 and she wins. I think that was what was destined to happen if she would have played her idol to save him. So now it's a lot more tricky.
Yeah.
For sure. So we went a little long, but obviously we had car rides with Al Cares. You guys can listen to it in your car ride. But be sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything. We're going to do our finale show, a week or so after the finale. It's not gonna be right away. Like I said, get a little time to digest the 3 hours, 2 hours, and reunion show, whatever. That's gonna be probably 2.5 hours, and then the half-hour reunion shows that this has been. They'll probably do it live, reading the votes, or right on the spot reading the votes like they did then last season too. And then other cool news for you, Jessica. Your dream has come true.
What's that? The show's ending?
No, it got renewed for 2 more seasons. But I know how much you love The Amazing Race.
Yeah.
I know how much you love Survivor. Survivor and The Amazing Race are gonna be on the same night next season. Yes. So your Amazing Race and your Survivor back to back. In fact. So
you guys are only gonna hear me on one podcast this time because I cannot do this. To myself.
Yeah. 34 of The Amazing Race and 43 of Survivor on the same night next season.
Why do they hate me? Why do people hate me?
I don't know, drivers, everybody.
I don't. Oh, I went on so bad.
8,
If you're going on the road right now down to Binghamton, everybody just get out the away from me.
right.
Please. Thank you.
8, so I'm sorry, get started with me on at 8 o'clock on Wednesdays and Amazing Race with me on 9 o'clock on Wednesdays back in the spring for football, so it'll be fun.
Spring?
Fall.
You mean fall?
Fall, yeah, sorry.
Oh.
Yep, it's gonna be a good time.
I wouldn't say that. That's one word for it. But I don't know if I would say that.
A good time's actually 3 words.
Shut up, I was going to say that's a couple words for it. That's one thing to say about that.
All right.
Oh, I'll punch you. I can drive off this road right now.
Please don't. If hopefully we have our next show. Hopefully in like a week or so, like 10 days.
If you don't hear from us.
If you hear from us, Jessica killed me or somebody else on the road. But be sure to subscribe so you get our content when we do get it out. You can like our Facebook page, facebook.com, Pavement Road Productions on Facebook, Pavement Road Prod, facebook.com/Pavement Road Prod. Email the show directly, pavementroadproductions@gmail.com. Let us know your thoughts. Tell us what you think of the show, and give us your finale predictions. And I said we'll be back here in a little over a week, and breaking down the finale and what happened, and look ahead. So thanks for listening. Thanks for being a part of the show. Jessica, anything else?
No, just get me to where we're going.
Yes, indeed.
Safe travels.
Yes, like The Amazing Race would be. And for now, until the finale, I've got nothing else for you because the tribe has spoken.